Good morning. Good morning from the Runaway on Lewis Station, my favourite place to broadcast from. We try to move around throughout the summer, but when you get down to the winter, there aren't that many places open to go and talk to people. So the Runaway, because it opens at 5 o'clock in the morning, is our favourite. And if you're travelling to London, well, the trains seem to be on time this morning so far, but we could easily find that will change during the day, because it changed yesterday for me. There we go. It changed yesterday for me because every train that left here was on time. Then mine was 5 minutes late leaving, and when we got to London, we were 15 minutes late. So it wasn't much luck for me after counting out the trains yesterday, all on time up until the quarter to 7. However, trains very much in the headlines this morning because the Common Select Committee on Transport have at long last shown that they've got some teeth. And they've criticised Chris Grayling and the managers of Network Rail and the managers of the train companies and said it's just not good enough, and that putting up their fares by the 3% is not in the national interest. You put it that way, because too many people are upset. And there are reports coming out of London yesterday that there are groups that are threatening not to pay the extra money come January the 3rd or 4th or whenever it is that the tickets go up, and that they will just simply refuse. And I said to a colleague, well, what do they do when they get to the barrier? He said, vault it. Can you imagine me vaulting the barrier? Oh, the mind boggles. So that's not a solution for me. So I'm just going to have to be my rebellious self and use my mouth to roar and say, yes, the service has been outrageous, and the train companies are not being managed well. But since the whole era of management at the moment, wherever you turn, seems to be lacking. I think that it's just something to do with the fact how these people were educated, and that we're just going to have to live through an era of bad management before we come out at the other end. But anyway, Chris Grayling, who's the Transport Minister, was heavily criticised, and in fact, the committee called on him to resign. And basically what he said is, well, all that trouble, not my problem, Gov. That's just not good enough for a minister to say that. It's his responsibility in the long run. The buck ends with him. And the MPs did admit that the train companies didn't give him all the information that they should have, which brings me back to the way that many organisations now are operating in a covert way. Who knows what we're being told is the truth, and who knows what's being hidden from us. So even though Grayling may have some defence about not taking responsibility for the chaos on the trains, the Select Committee said, hey, come on, it's your bag. Now, either resign or do something about it. And he's patently just not with it, or his civil servants aren't with it. I understand that Maria Caulfield took in a whole bunch of, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of protests and presented them to the Department of Transport, only to be met with the astonishing claim that Southern Rail was a very efficient company. Well, sure. If you actually going to Eastbourne and to put yourself back on time, you stop in Lewes and dump everybody out. Or when you get to Haywards Heath, you have no second driver, so everybody has to go to Littlehampton instead of the train splitting. if those are the sort of things which don't go into the statistics, anybody can look at them. I mean, what the hell is Grayling doing? Is he not riding the rails? Is he not trying to find out? Because, that's the big problem with a lot of our MPs and a lot of our elected people is they don't actually go to find out, and they've never done it themselves. They've never done a day's work. They've always been in politics. Excuse me, here's a good cup of coffee. From Pavel down at the Runaway, and good coffee it is too, and you should try it on the way down. And if you're not catching a train, you can get a drink of coffee at the Runaway. Just say to the gentleman that you're going down to see the Runaway, and 9 times out of 10 he'll let you through. Restraint of trade if he doesn't, but that's another matter. We won't get onto that this morning. But there is no question that the worm is turning, and the railway companies aren't going to have it all their own way anymore. That we, the people, as it were, have said enough is enough, and MPs are beginning to realise that we are not fooling this time. And when you get people threatening to jump the barriers, you can imagine the chaos at various stations. You can imagine the conflict. You can imagine how it will all get out of hand, and hopefully it won't reach Paris proportions where the city is burning from protests. But by the same token, we have had enough. And if you're going to charge us more, we want to see the improvements, not the chaos that was delivered last year after we got another 3% Technon. So it may well be that there is going to be an exciting time at the beginning of the year, and it may well be that the companies will be prevented from putting up their 3%, because it is a government requirement, a government-linked requirement, and I suppose that they can pop into the chamber, being all-powerful, and vote and stop it. Why not at the moment? Certainly, I can't see the improvements in the service will come from pouring that extra 3% in. It's a lot of money. But, I mean, it may not be individually that much, 3%, but when you total it up, they're getting a few hundred millions in as a result of it. Christmas, and let me say straight away that. Oh, and let me say one other thing too, before it starts to get light, because this morning the sky is clear, and the sky is absolutely brilliant. There is a slightly new moon. It's slightly used, really. It was out yesterday, but the new moon is clear in the sky, but the stars are looking spectacular. And light pollution can destroy a lot of images. And I came down one of the Twitters this morning where all the lights had been turned out. It's probably at Lewis District Council, customer first, saving money on our behalf, switch all those street lights out. But because it was so black, I was able to look up into the sky and really savor and have this wonderful feeling of being overwhelmed by the universe. When I looked up and saw the brilliant stars and this wonderful sky this morning, so even if you're not going out, pop outside, take a look. It's breathtaking and worthwhile, and not something we get every day of the week, so worth perhaps a little inconvenience to go and take a peek. Anyway, where were we? Oh yes, the question of Christmas. One of the things that we're being warned about, and be very careful, is fake gifts. I suppose really there are a lot of shops, the pop-up shops come about at this time of the year. Nothing against pop-up shops. I'm sure that there are many entrepreneurs who try very hard to do that sort of thing. But you have to watch out what sort of goods they've got in there, because some of them could come from illegal stills. But for instance, the sort of things that we are warned about is our freight train going through. Oh, it's a gas tanker one again this morning. And how long is it? Not very long, 5 or 6 cars. There you are, the noise has gone again. The things like face cream and cosmetics and perfume is quite often faked. Big factories the money apparently from those naughty people who do these things are going into drug sales, and so the whole social fabric is under threat from fake goods. But there is a real danger to you, because if you put on some of this fake cream, that it can burn the skin. And if you drink some of this fake booze, it can actually poison you. So you be very careful. Try to go to regular, legitimate vendors. If somebody is offering in a pop-up shop a bottle of whiskey for £5, and it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So be very careful when you see outside the normal shopping areas goods of that sort that can be easily faked, are easily faked, and are on sale in all sorts of smaller outlets. I'm not urging you to go to the bigger outlets. On the contrary, the high street is absolutely necessary, but there are other outlets that aren't necessarily on the high street that are small, and the pop-ups, so watch out. Let's say, for once, so no, let's not say, because as far as I can see, the councils have let themselves down on Lewes High Street again. I mean, you look at pictures from high streets around the world, and everybody is glowing and glittering, not Lewes, no. But the merchants are trying very hard to make it a bit of a show. And the lights that are going up on various premises are much better than last year. And I guess they're encouraged because there is going to be a road closure, and they will benefit from Lewes Late Night Shopping, which takes place at 6 o'clock this month, 6 o'clock on the 6th in this month, December, and that I think is Thursday, is it? Yes. So today is the 4th, Wednesday, the 6th would be when. No, today's Tuesday, isn't it? The 4th, 5th, 6th. That's right. Thursday the 6th. Before I can't even tell where I am, what time it is. I'll forget my own name next. What is it? Never mind. These are the things that afflict you when you're my age. You just have to live with them and hope that you get things right. But anyway, the merchants are trying to do a good job, and each day a few more lights appear. So Lewes High Street may not look too bad, but no thanks to any councils who may have money or the responsibility for dressing the street up. But I think it's quite outrageous that we, to the rest of the world, because now it's a global village, to the rest of the world, Lewes High Street look as if we're the meanest bunch of, well, we are, actually. Yeah. We complained last year and nothing got done. So what do? Oh, we just go about our business, and then we complain this year and nothing gets done. Well, why don't we turf some of these councillors out and put somebody in? Let's get a few radicals in there. I'm ready to join the revolutionaries. I'm so fed up with our leaders who don't seem to be able to lead. Hire people who can't manage, and if I thought it was just me ranting and raving, but there was an interview in the paper with a sort of a 10-year-old or something, and this little mite said in response to a question is, well, in these troubled times, and even youngsters of 10 or 11 are beginning to realise that the world is in a mess. And it's only, it's no sense trying to pass the buck. It's in a mess because of our leaders. There is no leadership at any level, and it's really very upsetting. Now, a nice story out of, I think it's Somerset, but a bunch of old age pensioners with a total of 428 years who are in one of these nursing homes, care homes, got so fed up with the cost that they were charged for services that they formed their own little company and then provided it to the nurse home. Apparently it's brought the fees down enormously, the service charges have come down, but also the efficiency, and they've hired local people. So now they've got a window cleaner who comes in and chats to them instead of a faceless van that turns up and with people you never see the next time the that they come around with great big long poles and ladders, and they're in and they're out and so on. So good for them. And the other thing that's said is that because these old age pensioners now have got a purpose in life, is that they are improving in health and in their approach and their attitude, and everybody that sees them finds them delightful. And in fact, the last word was that it has started to change the whole atmosphere of the entire care home. And if that's the sort of thing that can happen, then instead of dismissing us, as this generation tends to do, old age pensioners, and I may say I know an awful lot of people my age, and they're really pissed off that we are being dismissed like this. We've got a lot to offer, and you don't want it. That's tough. But if you're going to reject it, don't get too upset when we just say that you lot are not doing a good job, because you could tap into our brains and our experience. I still work, and I do this. So, where are we now? Let me end off this morning by saying, well done, Charlie Dobras and his ladies' football team. Women's football is coming of age. We are now watching it on television, and crowds are turning up for internationals and so on. But at a local level, it seems to be almost outstripping the men's version. And Lewis ladies, they lost to Manchester United 2-0. There was nothing disgraceful about that. Meeting a team with the facilities that must be available to them at Manchester United, and the facilities down here, where the club tries very hard, but it doesn't. It's not awash with money, is to hold them to 2-0, the Manchester United ladies to 2-0, is a really very creditable performance. The other thing is that, God bless Charlie and his helpers and the people down at the Football Club, is we're becoming aware of it, because the publicity is very good, and well done. Well done, Charlie and his team. And we'll keep an eye on them, and let's hope that we find that we start to win. And can you imagine the impact it would have if we beat Tottenham, or if we beat Manchester United, or we beat Chelsea, or Manchester City, or whoever else? But it is bringing these top lady footballers down here, and that's very commendable. So well done, that whole situation, that whole scheme that they've got going. And it seems to be working very well. I'm glancing away from time to time because the train is in. It's 1 minute late this morning, so or it'll be 2 or 3 minutes late by the time it pulls out. Not a good sign. Anyway, we are rebelling, folks. We are rebelling. We are telling the railway companies to get stuffed, and in self-defence, some of the MPs and leadership that we're telling to get stuffed is beginning to join our ranks and admit that the services they're providing are pretty bloody lousy. Lovely rant this morning. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. See you tomorrow. Toodle pip.